1.5 hour session, I'll rather have 20 minutes for discussion and then 10 minutes for feedback and so on. So I would require a lot of cooperation for all of you. It's online. So 45 minutes of your undivided attention for the first phase, and then let's see how it goes. So please allow me to share my file. Harsh, is the file visible? Harsh Dave?
Yes, sir, it is visible properly.
Okay. Let me begin with this truck. Many years ago, there was a truck which was passing through a low bridge and it somehow got stuck. Engineers, people from the civic bodies, from that particular municipal corporation and local authorities, all of them gathered to solve this problem. That how do you get this truck, because it was stuck and it was a large truck carrying some goods. It was very difficult to, take this truck, pass through this truck below the bridge and take it to the next side. There was a massive traffic jam and people were not able to do anything. People were just honking their horns, shouting at the civic authorities, police gathered and all these things. Here came the help of design thinker. And this design thinker was none other than a small child. A child was passing through this bridge, this traffic jam, and he saw this truck stuck up. He saw the traffic jam. He just came to a policeman and whispered in the ear of the policeman. He said, "Gentlemen, why don't you flatten the tires by taking the air out of the tires? If you flatten the tires में जो हवा है उसको निकाल दो, okay? Flatten the tires so that size of the truck will come down, okay? It will reduce and you can easily drag the truck to the next side." This was not a rocket science, okay? It was just mere presence of mind, sheer presence of mind, and how do you use that thing at a particular point of time, rather than shouting and getting curious about the situation, that what's going to happen, whether we'll be able to come out of the situation or not. This was a simple solution given by that child. So this was the truck that couldn't. Sometimes I think design thinking is like, it's so simple that like inviting a guest at your house for dinner. Now, just tell me, don't you ask the preference of your guest, whether you would like non-vegetarian food or vegetarian food, whether you like sweets or are you diabetic? Do you prefer spicy food or non-spicy food? Don't you ask your guest? Or if you don't ask, you have a record of this. Yes, because they might have visited your house in the past. So you make the menu, you garnish it, and most importantly, you taste it with a teaspoon. You take a teaspoon, try to taste every food prepared by you, okay? Every menu, every item prepared by you, so as to ensure that it is good to serve, correct? All of us do the same thing. And similarly, you have these phases in design thinking. You start with empathy. Here, because I care for my diabetic guest, I don't serve food with a lot of sweet content, so I am empathetic. I care for my guest. I taste the food because I want it to be the best for my guest. Hence, I go for tasting phase. I try to make something. If it doesn't work, I prototype it. But अगर design thinking इतना ही simple होता, तो हम सब design thinkers होते. तो क्या आप design thinkers बनना चाहेंगे? Let us see. Let me share my experience with one of the educational institution located in Gujarat, the rural part of Gujarat, but it's a beautiful, beautiful campus. You should all visit that. The aerial view of this campus shows it looks like a beautiful oasis in the desert. It's a Maktaba Zafariya campus. It's a Muslim minority campus. And this was the first campus where I conducted my design thinking workshop. And yes, it was a 2-day workshop, faculty development program. I got a lot of inputs. It was just the beginning of the, the second phase of COVID. Soon after April 2021, soon after this, design thinking FDP, there was massive outbreak of the second wave of COVID, and we were all indoors. And what were the insights? You can see, I tried to make it. You can see 3 colored t-shirts here on the chair. One is orange, another is white, and another is green. I will tell you what was the purpose of this as we advance further in our session. Participants came with a lot of ideas. None of them had any background or exposure about design thinking. But why did I select, and what was the topic for selecting? You can see, because it's in the outskirts, it is located in the North Gujarat part of India. And there are several villages, Muslim villages located around this campus, and especially all the female students who never used to go out for education. This was meant for them. And I'm very thankful to that the authorities who allowed me to conduct this amidst COVID. Now, what are the outcomes, and why, and what was there in these 2 days? This was offline, where I was allowed to speak for about 5 hours. You can imagine 5 hours into design thinking. Then how many ideas I could have collected? Yes, I collected a lot of ideas. I kept on iterating. There is a process called iteration. Okay, you keep on revising, take it, revise it, look at it, revise it, and then finally you come to a final prototyping and then testing of it. These 3 major questions were discussed. How to keep students engaged during online classes? Yes, these students were from rural background, male, females, they used to study there. There was a school as well as a college, commerce college, BBA, and so on. How to reach distant villages around Maktaba Zafaria campus, and how to collect the fees. Fees was a problem. Many important insights I could get, and I used the phases of design thinking. These are the phases Dr. Joshi might have talked about in our first year of design FDP, design thinking FDP. There are several ways, but this Stanford Design School model is widely used. There are various other models, and this is evolving. Though this is not a new concept, it's evolving. As time advances, you will find more permutations and combinations which will enrich this subject of design thinking. The best part is you can use it at several places. Before I go ahead talking about my experience of Maktaba Zafaria, I would like you to just give me a second. I would like you to go to www.menti.com, menti.com. Harsh, can you please write www.menti.com in the chat box for me? Harsh?
Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah.
What is it? www.
Menti, M-E-N-T-I, Menti.
M-E-N-T-I, Menti.
.com.
.com.
Okay. Ask the participants to go through it.
I would like to request all the participants to go through this link.
And a code will be asked. 2759249. Can you see that code? Could you please unmute? Can any participant unmute himself or herself? Okay. Can you see it on the large screen?
Yes, sir. The code is visible.
Okay. So Harsh, along with you, you also help the other participant give answer to this question. I have given 3 options: yes, no, and can't say. Is design thinking same as brainstorming?
Can you please repeat the code number, please?
It's there on the screen, sir.
It's not,
270.
no, it's not visible.
Okay, I'll repeat it, sir, for you. 270.
270-59249.
Yes, sir.
Correct,
I
sir. Correct, sir.
written
Correct.
that in the chat box.
Yeah. So I have started getting responses. Only 3 of them have responded so far. I would like as many participants as possible to answer this, so that we get a live, interaction. I can engage all of you. Some of you also try to give wrong answers. Let's go for can't say. I know no is the correct answer. Some of you purposely give wrong answer. That's my request to you. Can't say or yes, yes, you can answer yes or can't say. I just want to see whether it's reflected in this bar chart or not. Thank you. Some of the participants reacted speedily, quickly. Yeah. Yes. So you have different colors here. Only 6, 7, 8, 9 people have responded so far. Come on. See, jitna jaldi aap respond karenge. I'm just waiting for your reply, so that we can go ahead with the next slide. Nice. So you can keep on answering. Meanwhile, let me go back to the slide. So you can see, friends, all those who have joined and all those who have responded to this question, you can see that this was something which immediately took your attention from just non-interactive one to an interactive one. Okay. So this was something based on a lot of iteration. Now you'll say this is not again a rocket science. What's something great that you did there by taking a 2 days workshop there? Okay. So the problem was that these rural kids, it was very difficult for them to get engaged for online sessions, and they were school children. So they had many subjects. So we discussed several strategies and we tried to iterate. The most important part, interesting part was, in rural, they will have 4 or 5 kids, rural areas, and parents might only have 1 or 2 smartphones. A mother and a father might have 1 smartphone, no computer, no laptop. Okay. The father used to go for work outside, and there remains only 1 smartphone at home. And now there are 4 kids. All 4 kids, their online classes were at the same time. So this was the problem identification in our 2 days workshop. How to use this 1 phone, 1 smartphone, to go for the online sessions, especially when you have a brother and sister studying in different classes, having different periods and the sessions and so on. In some families there were 3 kids with single smartphone on which Zoom meeting could work, and the solution was wonderful. If I share the solution, you will be very happy. These participants came with a solution that all the school buses were lying idle during the COVID period. Okay, जैसे आपने जेट एयरवेज के एरोप्लेन आपने एयरपोर्ट पे देखे होंगे, है ना, वो धूल चाट रहे हैं, उसी तरह से buses काफी दिन से, okay, the buses were lying idle. Some of the buses were punctured, the tires were flat. So immediately this participants gave an excellent solution that Institute Maktaba Zafaria should have some mobile phones given to a few staff members, and these buses will go to the remote villages from where the students used to commute every day to this campus. You can see the campus. Okay, nearby you don't have you don't have any inhibition, the locality staying here. Okay, so now this buses, the solution was buses would ply between Maktaba Zafaria every day in the morning to the nearby villages. Institute will spend money on phones and there will be facilitators in every village, the grown-up school kids or the college students who would show and facilitate the online sessions for such kids where there are 3 and 4 siblings, 3-4 siblings है, अगर वो एक साथ classes attend नहीं कर सकते तो ये solution वो लाए थे, and this was a wonderful solution. I hope you can empathize with me that how happy as a trainer I would have been at when the students who were complaining, the parents who were complaining about similar time. See, it was not even literally possible to have different time slots for every kid because teachers, they had to teach in various classes, right? And another, there's some disturbance. Can you please ask them to unmute themselves? Megan?
Dr. K. Pushpa, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And another solution was how to collect fees. You all might have realized, especially the faculty members, you might have realized that during the COVID phase, it was very difficult that parents, some of the parents denied not that they'll not pay the fees. Okay. So Maktaba Zafaria came with a solution for that. Instead of paying in cash, you can pay in kind. So many parents who were farmers paid the fees by giving food grains. They were farmers. So some of them donated grams, chana. Some of them donated wheat, gunny bags of wheat, and so on. So something with the same denomination of the fees that they are paying, the same similar denomination of fees was paid in kind, not in cash, but in kind. So this was something which was the outcome, and this is the insight of the 2 days FDP which I conducted. And believe me, I cannot think anything else other than design thinking once you taste the fruit of success of how design thinking could work for all of you, right? So now let me give, because tomorrow also there is a concluding session. Professor Priyanka Batra will engage it, and she will also take various methods of design thinking. Today I have tried to focus on empathize and ideate process. Yes, of course, define is there, but I have tried to club the problem as well as the ideate phase. Now let us go ahead and see that. Dear participants, if you talk about the modes of thinking, these are the modes of thinking: divergent and the convergent. One is an inside out and another is an outside in. And sometimes you have a question and you look for various solutions. For example, how to control traffic. So that would be a user imagination. Or you have convergent thinking. The same traffic solution could come up with different facts and you can come out with a solution. Odd even rule in Delhi came out with the same one. This is one of my favorite, and I use this wherever I go for design thinking workshop. Looking at this, you don't find any problem. If you can see this picture, I want to interact with one of the participants. Can you please volunteer, one of the participants, can you please volunteer and explain me what this picture wants to say? One of the participants, please unmute and volunteer and explain me this picture. Then nobody wants to talk to me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So good afternoon, sir. So,
Good afternoon.
yes, sir. So in this picture, we can see that there is a girl child and there is a series of water taps, and she want to, she's just raising her hand to fill up that cup, the water.
Thank you, gentlemen. What's your name?
Sir, Saurabh, sir.
Nice talking to you, Saurabh, sir.
Yeah, same here, sir.
Yeah. Yes. Could you find some problem here?
Sir, can I?
Yeah. Please.
So she's unable to open up the tab. So I think that's a kind of clear problem. She tries to open up the tab.
Correct.
And then she's looking after the other gentlemen so that if they can help her.
Correct. She is not able to reach the tab, right?
Yes, sir.
Sir, what appears to be that there are 2 taps running, and both of these people are talking, and the taps are running, and this boy is wondering what a wastage is happening.
Yeah. This is another approach to this picture. I appreciate, because most of the participants, they don't give this answer, but I appreciate a new answer from one of the participants. I appreciate this answer too. Yes, Saurabh sir, and you, because I'm not able to see your names, so could you please?
I'm Dr. Amit Malhotra.
Yes, sir. Nice talking to you.
Yes.
Sir, here the participants, if you see, you don't find a major problem here, because if you have studied in a primary school or in your school, the similar way of taps, the taps were aligned in the similar fashion.
Yes.
Here, the height of the girl is, she's a short girl, and she's not able to reach to the tap. She's trying to reach it, and she's trying to take the help of this gentleman in blue color shirt.
Yes, sir.
This problem you might have faced at some point of time. This gentleman, he's a taller person. He would also face the problem if he would like to drink water without the help of the glass in this similar fashion. In India, you might have had water in this manner, by putting your hand like this and drinking it. I have done that when I was a child. You might have done that. Now, National Innovation Foundation's 2014 entry of one of the entries from my own district, Gandhinagar district of Gujarat. This was appreciated by the then President of India in 2014, and this was the inclined installation of water taps, where a shorter person could drink the water with ease. So will be the person who is a taller person. So this is, again, it was not a magnificent discovery sort of thing, or not a great invention, but you cannot neglect how well a problem solved with empathy, because here empathy comes into picture. What is empathy? Empathy is something related to what you feel for others. When you feel the feelings or emotions of others, you could solve from the perspective of that person or that end user. So this was something, and the modern form of this was this. Now you can see in many schools, the inclined installation, you can see it in this manner. Not just this, even in lavatories. You might have seen in lavatories, different structures are built for taller kids in the school and shorter students in the school, right? So this is how you keep on developing the problem. Sometimes you don't find the problem. See, this is not something which is a major problem. If you don't solve it, India is going to lag behind 20 years. No, it's not like that. But when you give some form to it, it definitely makes some sense, makes some meaning, right? Netflix does the same thing, because I would not take another case. If you love Netflix, you know it uses a lot of iterations. With the help of artificial intelligence, it actually prompts what you want to see based on, okay. And Netflix originals was an outcome of this. Netflix was into DVD rental business, and Netflix ultimately came to what actually the viewers want. And today, Netflix is one of the most reputed OTT platforms, most successful OTT platforms, with Netflix originals, which actually design programs for those people. For example, if you want to see some programs with intimate scenes, Netflix offers you. If you want anime with Japanese cartoon, anime, if you like anime, you have a lot of anime. If you like series with a lot of fighting and action, you have such. So they actually use design thinking. Shopper's Stop. This is one of my favorites. The waist size. You have a 28 waist size and a 30 waist size. Okay, your size of your waist, but you don't have in between. Let's say 29. Okay, especially for the trousers. So what Shopper's Stop found, that the people used to buy t-shirts and shirts, but not the trousers. And the problem was they were not trying the trousers, because when they used to see 28 waist size, the person with 29 or 27 might not try. So Shopper's Stop found this and tried to solve it. And what was the mantra? The mantra was, every trouser in the store needs to, you should try. And they facilitated trying. They encouraged the customers and the visitor to try every trouser in the store, leading to the rise in the sales which was otherwise declining cells. Yes, design thinking in medicine, in medical field, how do you use it? Once you are in the emergency room, okay, once, let's say you are on a stretcher, you are not able to see anything else in the hospital, but what you see is the ceiling. Okay, a patient who is still in the senses, but who is on the stretcher or on the bed, he goes for the ceiling or the walls around. Design thinking came to the rescue. Okay, they decorated the ceiling, one firm, IDEO, they decorated the ceilings to make them more aesthetically appealing or pleasing, because most of the time, you know, the ceilings are not that attractive. They decorated with clouds and attractive chandeliers, wall hangings, and so on. Covered one wall of each patient's room with whiteboard so that visitors can write "Get well soon," and made the floor of patient rooms different style. For example, if they want to go to X-ray room, they would go to the X-ray room on the wheelchair. But when they came back, they had different floorings so that the patient would feel he is entering in his own zone or her own zone of, okay. So hospital stay, which is otherwise something which we don't like, was made an experience worth enjoying. Not enjoying, but when say pleasing. You don't enjoy hospital stay, but it could actually mitigate the pain a patient faces. So here comes the empathy phase. So now, because I'm going to talk about how can teachers use design thinking. Okay, as a teacher, how can design thinking be helpful to me? Okay, so let's see that. The remaining part of the session is related. Remember to have this in your mind. These stages, okay, empathize, define, ideate, prototyping, and testing. Okay, now one question arises that design thinking, does it give an indication it is for designers or creative people? I used to think in the same manner. Before I knew about design thinking, I thought design thinking is something for designers, people who are extremely creative. But then on researching, on getting more interest, I was also a participant just like you in one of the design thinking workshop, which was there at Gujarat National Law University in Gandhinagar. And around 19 participants registered and only 7 turned up. Out of 19, only 7. I was very curious to know, and I thought I need to be a good painter. But then I realized, no, I need to be a good thinker. I need to be a good problem solver in order to go for design thinking. But as a faculty, how do you motivate your students to be a design thinker? So that would be my objective of delivering this session. I don't want to go to the definition of design thinking. You all might have gone through. थोड़ा बहुत तो research आपने किया ही होगा. Dr. Joshi ने भी समझाया होगा. What you should understand from this definition is, it understands the user. Okay, it is user from the perspective of the user, not the producer. They challenge assumptions. Okay, you assume a lot of things. For example, Tata Nano car in India, it's an utter failure now. Okay, Mr. Ratan Tata, he thought it is going to sell like hot cake, and Bajaj scooter will be replaced by Tata Nano, right? He even named it Tata Nano because he is a Parsi, and in Parsi, Nano, because Parsis use Gujarati language, and Nano means small. It is not Nano, it is Nano. So Tata Nano. It failed. What is the reason? Tata Nano failed because there was a lot of social pressure. What will people think about me when my car is parked opposite to my house or in the main door? My neighbors will mock at me. They will laugh at me. That ये क्या लाए हो आप? इतने साल बाद आप कार परचेस करके आए और वो भी आप टाटा नानो लेके आए. इस तरह के बहुत सारे reasons. There are a lot of reasons behind Tata Nano's failure. We are not going to talk about the reasons behind the failure and the downfall of Tata Nano, but assumptions that some things are going to be very successful based on just one thing, that it is economical might not work for you. redefine the problems, and so on. And most importantly, observe and develop empathy. The word empathy. Sympathy is to have feeling for others, and empathy means to feel what others feel. Okay, if he is in pain, you should feel the pain. That is known as empathy. He is the man behind making design thinking very popular, Mr. David Kelly. He is behind IDEO and design, Stanford's design school. And he is the person behind the design of 747 Boeing lavatory signages, which would show the occupied sign. Otherwise, it was very difficult. There were passengers going and coming back because, you know, the lavatory in an aeroplane is very, you know, it is very congested. You all might have observed it. And, you know, we all don't travel in first class, right? And even in first class, it's not that spacious. If it is if a different way, it would be a very spacious one. But this is for the common person. He was the one who was the, you can say, the mainstream design thinker, and this small design of his was accepted by Boeing because he was a former employee of Boeing, made it popular across the world. Very simple, right? It's not that difficult. No, that's not, you think, oh, that's nothing great. It's not an invention sort of thing. But yes, it's a small correction in the design. Problem. Now we will be solving some exercises. We'll be going to some exercises, but I want you to go to some journey of, because I don't want to make it very boring for you. Yeah, I got a lot of answers now. 6, 7, and 5. 6 people said that design thinking is same. Okay, because I asked you to give fake answers, so I'm not going to interpret it. Let me introduce you to Jerry the Bear. Harsh, is the YouTube visible? The screen is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, let me play this for all of you.
Get a strip, then it has to tell you a code. Prick your finger, then the blood will come out. Then it will read your number and tell your blood sugar. Then you put the insulin in here. This just injects it. It goes up and then.
As parents, you're constantly trying to protect your child from the stigma of this institutional feel. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with him.
You have this idea of what you want for your kids, you know, their life to be carefree. And he does really good, but you can see it in his face sometimes that, you know, he's not a normal kid. You know, he has diabetes and it's hard.
If there's a way that we can make it less clinical, less medical, more fun, so Sprout Health, that's our company. We make interactive TV toys for children that are diagnosed with a chronic illness. And so Jerry the Bear is the first product of Sprout Health. It's a cuddly teddy bear for kids with type 1 diabetes that teaches them how to manage a healthy diet, check their blood glucose levels, and recognize their symptoms. With diabetes, especially with a lot of things, the ramifications don't happen until later in life. It's not something you can rationalize for a child. It's really abstract and it's scary. So instead of using scare tactics, use fun, use play.
It's time for time. The amount of time that has time.
For certain things, you're worried about getting it right. So you want to create the best possible information. And you want it to be correct. And now that we've gotten to that point, it's about providing that care and providing that information in the best way. That's his backpack. And he's got his boots and insulin.
Are you special and brave kid? I need to take insulin.
Excuse me.
You know, do as much as you can.
So you might have got some idea about what this product is all about. So this is Jerry the Bear, which was designed for type 1 diabetes kids, so that they have a companion, a toy, which gives them a feeling that they are not the only kids who are on insulin, because type 1 diabetes kids, they are to be given insulin on regular basis. They have to take care of their diet and other things. So was Jerry. Jerry was also well equipped with a lot of instruments which were helpful for, you know, that came along with Jerry the teddy bear, and this is how they used to go for it. So that was the empathy. I wanted you to have some idea about the empathy stage with this help of Jerry the bear. Let me go ahead. So when you define the problems, you need to ask these questions. Is the problem focused on human values? Does the problem have high level of uncertainty? Is it wicked in nature? And does it have no data? If you don't have any data, if the problem is wicked in nature, don't worry if you don't understand what is a wicked problem. I will let you know. Does it have a high level of uncertainty? And whether it is focused on human values. So these are some wicked problems which otherwise do not have a significant solution. The problems that we find in today's society are financial crisis, healthcare, hunger, poverty, and so on. But today, because we are going to discuss about the educational problems, so it is regarding education design. COVID has taken the toll. We are not able to engage the students well. 2 years was a sheer, there was a sheer wastage. There were no offline classes. Even if you talk about the educational designs, they are having a lot of flaws in them. So can we handle all these things with the help of design thinking or not? Let us see that. So a problem, if you want to define it as a wicked problem, it should be having no clear definition. There's nothing wrong or right. Solutions are limited by worldview. Just a minute. Yeah. Every problem is a symptom of another problem. Okay, they are cyclical in nature, unique, no final end to the solution, and so on. So this are a few, if you can even go through 4 to 5 definitions of that, what the parameters which define a wicked problem. So education is such a problem. Okay, now how would you like to solve it with the help of Genrik Althusser, a Russian design thinker who came out with a method called TRIZ. It's mentioned in Russian language. It's mentioned in the Russian language in the second line, which roughly means theory of inventing problem solving. And you solve it with the help of conflict of interest. Okay, so what is this? Let's have an example here. Assume that a student regularly comes late in your class, right? And he has been given some assignments by some other faculty members too. He has a deadline to meet. The student, he has a deadline to meet. Okay, so while defining this problem, you can go in this manner. Student, then he has hour of going to sleep. He sleeps late or he sleeps early. Okay, we focus on the yellow colored part. When he sleeps late, he gets up late. Okay, hence he is not able to attend my class, which is which is scheduled early in the morning. On the other hand, let's say student overburdened with lot of assignment. He also has to come and attend my class, which is in the early morning. He comes early and he attends the class. Now, if you go to the fourth phase here, if you look at the green colored symbols, green colored boxes, it's mentioned R1 positive and R2 positive. Now let us see the contradictions of both of them. Student who is late, who sleeps late, might not be able to get early, so he is late. A student who sleeps early will be able to sleep well, will be able to get up early and come to my class. Okay, two options. Now let us go for this, what TRIZ, that is the Russian Mr. Genrik Althusser, with the help of TRIZ model. Actually, there are 40 statements which is difficult and beyond the scope of this FDP, applied on various situations, but I have tried to take one thing, that is the conflict of interest. This contradiction, coming late to the class or coming early to the class, these are the contradictions. What are the outcomes? These are the outcomes. red and green for every outcome. Okay, so once he's late, okay, he can solve the course deadlines. Okay, he has got assignments. So if he wakes up late, okay, if he does not, if he completes his assignment by waking up late at night, okay, by not sleeping more, he can clear the assignment, right? And that the negative point is he comes late to the class. On the contrary, if he is early, if he goes to bed early, he comes to class on time. And the negative point is he needs to complete the assignment. He's not able to do that. As a design thinker, the outcome, the solution would be, the desired outcome would be, select both the green colored outcomes. That is, course outlines are satisfied as well as he comes to class on time. This is our desired outcome. But most of the times you don't have the desired outcomes in your favor, isn't it? We miss a lot of deadlines. We end up failing in some of the examination, isn't it? Let us take this opportunity and go for conflict of interest, the similar diagram for Three Idiots. I've taken this believing that all the participants might have gone through this movie, Three Idiots. If not, I will give you some background and you'll have to, I will give you 10 minutes. You should have a pen and paper with you and come out with this outcome. And I want you to come out with the desired outcome. Okay, and the situation is like this. For that, I would like to talk to you. Okay, so I'm stopping the presentation. And if I ask you to appear on the screen, if it is comfortable, please appear on the screen, switch on your camera and you can talk to me. Now, Amir Khan, who was named as Ranchod Das Shamal Das Chachad, Rancho. And his real name was Phungshuk Wangdu. Okay. So now there are two outcomes. There are two possibilities. Either okay, Amir Khan reveals his identity in the engineering school and he does not reveal the identity. Okay. Now on the pen and paper, with the help of your pen and paper, write down two outcomes. And I would like to talk to Mr. Saurabh. Mr. Saurabh, can you please unmute yourself? Saurabh sir?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Yeah. Now, I'm sure आपने Three Idiots देखी होगी.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. So now there are two things. We are going to solve it with the help of conflict of interest. This exercise has a 10-minute time limit. First one is Amir Khan or Ranchod Das Chachad revealing his identity. Second one is does not reveal the identity. Okay. Now let us go back to the PowerPoint slide and you will have to give me two outcomes. So based on the similar diagram, you'll have to give me two outcomes. V and okay, inverted V is mentioned. So can you please tell me when he reveals his identity and when he does not reveal his identity, because actually he was an orphan boy, Phungshuk Wangdu. Okay. So uske outcomes kya hai? What are the outcomes? Red color and green color. Can you tell me please?
Sir, if he goes with the revealing identity, then might that the owner of the original owner might stop his education.
Correct. Correct. And
So
the second one?
second would be the kind of favorable. So
Yes.
if he doesn't want that, then he will continue with his education.
Okay. So the first one is revealing the identity, right? Right, sir?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you reveal the identity, there are two outcomes. When
The
you
truth
reveal
comes
it,
up.
you will get Phungshuk Wangdu will get the degree, not Ranchod Das Chachad, because really, in reality, he was Phungshuk Wangdu,
Yes, sir.
right? And the second one, which is negative, red color, the owner, actual Ranchod Das Chachad, who was played by Javed Jafri,
Mhm.
okay, he was the son of a rich businessman named Shamal Das Chachad. So Shamal Das Chachad will feel bad about that and he will stop the education.
Yep.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now let us go to the later part. What if he does not reveal the identity? What
So
if
if
he
you,
does not reveal the identity?
if he doesn't reveal the identity, then he will continue with the education. But
Correct.
again, the degree would be in the name of the owner.
Rancho, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Degree will be on the name of Ranchod Das Chanchar.
Yes,
Correct.
sir. Yeah.
And when you talk about the green, so what is the desired outcome here? What would be the desired outcome?
Can you just reiterate all this stuff? So I was
Yes, yes,
confused
yes.
over
Yeah.
there.
It is for
Yeah.
all, yeah, for the entire class. I will again, like,
So
try
again,
to
sir,
explain.
so question is, so again, I'm sorry to sir,
Yeah,
interrupt
yeah,
you.
yeah.
The point is, so just confuse, clear me. So we are looking at the design thinking perspective. So
Correct.
how we can relate the design thinking with this tricks model?
Yes, sir. Actually, we are going for trying to identify the problem with the help of conflict of interest. If you see the first red color line here, you are
Yes,
trying to form a problem, frame a problem with the help of contradiction. This is one way of putting your problem on pen and paper with the trying to identify the problem, and then you can go for simplifying it on a later stage.
so can we say that this kind of this could be the driver of identifying the research gap or the research problem?
This could be the initial driver of identifying what we exactly want to solve.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. Okay, so the desired outcome here would be not to reveal the identity, but take the knowledge of engineering, because he actually was curious to know about engineering, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he did not get degree on his name, but he got the knowledge of engineering.
But the desired result would also vary depending upon the situation,
Correct.
whether he wants to continue with the education or he wants his name
Yes,
under
yes.
the graduation.
Yes,
So
but
desired result would be in the two phase now.
correct. That could be in two phases. But then, if you want to analyze what was the desired outcome there, based on the
But-
movie that you have seen, what happens
but-
in the next
Yes,
phase?
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. But here we are. So I agree to your point that here we already have a picture in our mind. Okay, we all have seen the Three Idiots movie. That's why we are making a desired outcome based on that particular movie. But
Right,
let's
sir.
say in the original in the life scenarios, in the actuality, in the originality, we don't have those sort of. We are looking at the problem from a different lens, a very novice. And we don't know about how we need to come up to that problem or to how to we need to solve that gap or research problem. So
I do agree with
desired
whatever you are saying, sir.
yeah,
We can
so
have-
in those cases desired results would be differ. So let's say I'm pursuing my degree, I'm doing the doctorate, and there is a one research gap that I'm trying to work upon. So there could be two things: either the result would give me the favorable results, or it would be giving me the unfavorable results. And if
Correct.
I would put forward my results to the supervisors or to the external supervisors, so I need to make sure that okay, if this is a favorable, that so I would make in my abstract or conclusion that okay, I've done this study and this study proves to be beneficial, and this is the kind of my
Correct.
findings. And if it's against that findings, then I need to again put forward the same thing, but I would say, okay, I've done this particular research and it's showing the negative results. So that means that we don't want to invest in this particular direction. It could be
I,
yeah.
I totally, sir. I totally agree with, and I understood what you want to ask. Okay. The only thing is, do you want to solve it with the help of design thinking, taking empathy into consideration, or you want to solve it from as another critical problem through which you will have various ways or various options through which you are going to get benefit? I would actually answer this question based on the following example, sir. Just give me 1 minute.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. This example, then we'll go ahead, sir.
Yep. So don't call me sir.
Yeah. So okay. So now, if you talk about regular assemblies, okay. So this is what happens in your schools and educational institutions. Regular assembly. This is the non-COVID period. So if you see this presenter who is speaking, and if she wants to refer to the to the PowerPoint slide or the projector, she has to keep on turning back if there is no teleprompter in front of her. Okay, so that would result into looking behind, again looking forward, and so on. Now, Mr. Wadhwan, what you are trying to say is, could you have something like this? This is a lectern. Okay, this is a lectern where this lady need not go, she need not turn back to look and to find out what are the points that she need to read out and explain to the students or the assembly, the school assembly, because she has everything displayed on the screen here. But again, this would result into investment, right? This would result into investment.
Yep.
Again, if let us assume that this lady is not techno savvy. If she is not a techno savvy lady, she might have to appoint a person every time to run this entire system and so on. Again, you cannot afford to train this lady for just one assembly. Let us assume. Let us give, yeah, okay. So a design thinker. Let me take you from a design thinker's point of view.
Yep.
How design thinker will not solve the problem in this manner. ये design thinker का solution नहीं है. ये हम लोगों का solution है. Design thinkers कैसे solve करेंगे? They would ask the children about the assembly. Assembly के अंदर जो children या students जो इकट्ठे हुए हैं, they would talk to the students and ask about the assembly. They would have gathered every bit of information about the assembly and may have found that most were boring. Most of the assembly were boring and repetitive in nature. Okay, this is another solution to from the perspective of how a design thinker thinks. Then they may have found that they may often run over into lesson time. This feedback from both the teachers and children, like as a design thinker, I would imagine. So, as a design thinker, sir, we use 5 why techniques. 5 why techniques, and you can right away, you can use this while teaching also. Okay, all the faculty members who have joined, you can use 5 why techniques in every situation, especially when you want to solve that problem, that case study, with a flair of design thinking. Okay, now ये assembly की बात है, तो हम देखते हैं कि assembly boring क्यों है. Okay, so the first question is, why are some assemblies boring? School assemblies, why are they boring? Because the person who is speaking, let us say every student is given a turn to speak on a topic in the assembly, but he is not well prepared, and that is the reason he requires PowerPoint slides. Okay, ऐसा कहा जाता है ना, when you have a point, you don't require a PowerPoint. अगर आपके पास point है तो PowerPoint की जरूरत नहीं है. Okay, then the second why the person is not able to speak? Because we allocate the topic at the beginning of the year, but most of the people do not remember. Third question, again why? You have to ask 5 times why. Another why don't they remember? Because they did not remember. वो तो calendar, school के calendar में लिखा हुआ है. Okay, so they did not remember. Next question. Okay, but the calendars keep on changing. But why does the school calendar keep on changing? The reason is there are a few events like festivals, closure, or sometimes like a pandemic, like the COVID, which would change the assembly time, or your turn would get delayed. Okay, so because of there are a few events throughout the year which interrupts the schedule, then again we ask, why does the schedule not take into account these events, and so on. Okay, so when you keep on asking why, kyun, aisa kyun, why several times, you might end up with this answer: how might we ensure assemblies are relevant and useful when scheduled, okay, each year or each term? Instead of asking how might we stop getting a sore neck while presenting in an assembly hall, instead of that you should be asking, how can you make assembly interesting, where you need not spend a lot of money in this manner, still the assembly is going to be boring. Rather, as a design thinker, you should have a cost benefit analysis of the situation and come out with this. I hope you got the point.
Yes, sir. So I just wanted to give, even for my own learning and for the each of the content that we have. So I just want to interact that. So I just want to give an example, quick thing. So recently in the month of June and July. So I've attended a couple of conferences. One is from the city. I am Indore, and there's a global innovation conference in the month of July. And then there was another conference from NIT Warangal. So I
Correct.
attended a couple of conferences in a series. So since it's COVID scenario, so it's on all of things going on the virtual mode. So and a few of the conference was on the Teams and some on the Google platform and some are in the Zoom platform.
Correct.
So what I done, I prepared the presentation. So I know that okay, this would be the my calendar over the kind of down the month 2 or 3 months. So I prepared a one single slider. The
Correct.
slider comprises of around 5 to 6 slides, but I created a single deck, and then I presented in a Siri platform, and I made out my notes in that PPT itself. Okay,
Okay.
and then I presented my screen and opened that notes section, which I confirm with the organizer that whether the notes section is visible to them or not. So
Right.
they
Right.
can they confirm that it won't be visible because there's some other option to that you can
Correct.
hide that notes section.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I delivered the session seamlessly, and it's go perfectly fine. And then
Good.
similarly in the other conference, I use the same template, but I change some kind of topic and all those kind of key things, and I present it. So
Correct.
this could be the kind of again you can turn around the things
Definitely.
how you think through the things because and then there is a scenario in one of the conference that my screen was getting whole shared. So I need to share my PPT with them with the organizers, and they will share. So the
Correct.
note section is not visible to me. Okay.
Mhm.
So I was quite comfortable in having the note section in front of me, but in that particular conference, I didn't find the note section. But I tried to learn the things. Since I developed that particular conceptual model in the framework, so I know the things how I need to deliver
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
part. So yeah,
That's the reason we call it an iterative process. The process is always iterative in nature.
yeah,
Okay.
there
The
could be ups and
solution,
downs.
the
Yeah.
solution, yeah, the solution which you used in one conference did not work for another. Correct?
Yep. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing this because
Yep.
it would be helpful to me to enrich this thing when I present it to some other platform at some other platform. Thank you so much, sir.
Yep. Sure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Yeah. Now, there's another inventive principle to solve the conflict of interest, and here you should be using the other way around method. For example, instead of if the parts are getting stuck together, instead of hitting the outer part, you should cool the part which is inside, especially the metal parts. Okay. Another thing is you can make movable parts fixed and fixed parts movable. For example, treadmill, which you use for exercise. Okay. So you have to think another way around. Solutions कैसे होते हैं कि we think, okay, this is the solution. And one of the best example is the RoRo services, roll on and roll off services of Konkan Railways. Konkan Railways run between Maharashtra, some parts of Goa and Maharashtra. So, there are a lot of accidents when these trucks carry goods between these places, and the roads are they're curvy, and there are a lot of accidents resulting into traffic jam. Konkan Railways has introduced RoRo services where 40 trucks you can load these trucks along with the goods carrying in them on the railway wagons, and in just one trip, generally every 1 liter will cost 10 liters of diesel. Instead of that, 1 kilometer would result into 10 kilometers would result into 1 liter of diesel. Instead of that, at a very cost effective, just in one single journey, trucks were carried along with the goods with the RoRo service by Konkan Railways. This was phenomenal, and so this was something where the trucks are not moving. Okay, design thinking perspective से देखिए तो trucks move नहीं हो रही है. Trucks stationary है. Trucks are stationary, but trucks are also moving along with the railway tracks on the railway wagon.
Yes, sir.
So this is what is the principle of solving with the help of conflict. Okay.
And it's the same we have seen in the recently in the oxygen kind of shortfall in the Delhi, where railway ministry has transported the oxygen things over these railway things.
Correct. Yeah. I have I've seen a couple of people who were supplying these oxygens in their cars, taking the Maruti vans outside a patient. So the patient where he's admitted and supplying oxygen, especially the Sikhs, this Punjabi Sikh people of Delhi. A couple of videos were there on the news channel. Are you pointing out at the same thing?
Yeah, even in, yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Same to
yeah,
that point. But yeah, we have seen that even the railways are carrying the oxygen tankers as well
yeah, yeah.
to the several
Correct,
parts of Indian cities. Yeah.
correct, correct. Yeah, yeah. So let's move ahead. Let me introduce one of my students, former students from Sudan, who used to study here in my institute. The problem with this student was, okay, because we are talking about education, he only knew one language, that is Arabic. Okay, he was from Sudan. He was a 35 years old. I'm talking about 2017 when he was studying at my institute. That time, couple of foreign students were here. So he was from Sudan and a manager of a Sudanese sugar factory. The problem was he only knew Arabic. Sorry, entire MBA program he studied with the help of Google Translate. Whatever notes he used to take during the class, he used to put it in the Google Translate tool. He used to translate it into Arabic language, understand it in Arabic, write the notes, translate those notes in English again, and he used to study it back. First semester he failed in 4 subjects. Second semester he failed in 1 subject. By the end of 4th semester, he could score 68% marks, and he cleared Master of Business Administration with flying colors. Okay, he found out the problem and the solution to the problem with one single tool. He went to all faculty members, he used to talk to them, he used to get their idea, and believe me, by the end of 4th semester, he also learned how to communicate effectively in English. He only knew 3 or 4 words when he took admission in 1st semester. Sorry, thank you, hello sir, how are you? That's all. By the end of the semester, 4th semester, he was a fluent, he used to communicate very well in English. Okay, so this was something where he took a different approach to learning English and learning other aspects of design thinking. Parker was always worried about the downfalling sales, but then somebody said that you should focus on Parker as a gifting product, not as a writing instrument. So that worked for Parker. This was an innovative solution for iodine deficient lady in rural India. So this bindi, which Hindu ladies they apply on their forehead, this bindis were having a patch of iodine on them, and this iodine patches, if they used to apply every day on their forehead, could supplement the deficiency of iodine. I have a video. It's a very interesting video which you should watch it. Just allow me. Just excuse me, I'm just playing that video here.
Millions of women across rural India suffer from breast cancer, fibrocystic breast disease, and complications during pregnancy. Millions of women across rural India suffer from breast cancer, fibrocystic breast disease, and complications during pregnancy. Most of these cases are linked to an iodine deficiency. Supplements in the form of pills are available, but affordability is an issue. So, how do you make them get the required dosage of iodine? Almost every Indian woman wears a bindi, a traditional symbol of beauty. But what if these tiny little dots could do more? What if they could save lives? Introducing the life-saving dot, Jeevan Bindi. An idea that transformed bindis into iodine patches. Every woman requires between 150 to 220 micrograms of iodine daily. During the course of the day, these bindis dispensed that amount to the wearer. Specially created, these life-saving dots were distributed to women across rural India via health camps and clinics. In a nation of 500 million women, these tiny little dots were no longer just a symbol of beauty. They now spelled the difference between life and death. The life-saving dot, Jeevan Bindi.
So that was an example of how a simple everyday product, which is symbol of, for the longevity of the life of the husband, a bindi, was used as a supplement which could provide you the iodine deficient women with necessary iodine which is required for per day. Okay, so this was something which was given, they tried to solve it with using design thinking in the center. Okay, I will accept the questions if there are some queries or discussion for the last 10 minutes. Let me go for some methods also, because I have come with a lot of methods which I wanted to discuss with you. Let's go for those methods first. Similarly, this help desk, RM help desk, was one of the products made from cardboard, where the students going to primary schools in India, where there is no facility of desk, could convert the school bag into a desk. Imagine a child who goes under CT scan and he's frightened. GE came with a solution with the help of an empathy phase by making the CT scan machine very appealing for the children. It's not as scary as it looks here in this picture, but something which a child likes. Okay, so when you talk about empathy mapping, this is one of the stages of design thinking. Now let's go to the empathy mapping. So that would be a user is taken at the center, and empathy mapping asks about what does the user, if you try and meet the customer on the other hand, you try to map what does he say, what does the customer think or the prospect think, what does he feel like, and what he actually does. So this is the questions that you need to ask. What key messages is the user saying? How they are talking about your products or service or the experience. For example, if one of the best examples that you can take here is iPhone. Okay, so when you talk about when you generally collect data for iPhone, you will find various things which would fit here for any iPhone model. What do they say? What do they think about iPhone? Whether it reflects their class, whether it reflects that you belong to a particular class and not to a general class. Okay, who can not afford something which is who can only afford Android-based phone, but not something which is iPhone. What do they feel while using an iPhone, or what do they feel if they even think that I would be an iPhone user in the future, and what they actually do? Do they display the logo of that half-eaten apple while using an iPhone, and so on? Okay, so you can go for empathy mapping, which would actually give you a better idea about customers thinking, feeling, and doing differently. One of the examples is, you may ask in your class, especially male students, you just ask them that if they are sitting with their friends, if they sit with their friends and order a cold drink, will they ever order Fanta or an orange flavored cold drink when their friends are ordering Coca-Cola and Pepsi or Thumbs Up? They will not, because the male students who go out with their friends, and if they order a cold drink, they do not want them to be tagged or sealed, or to be taken as somebody who is not manly. Because in India, this orange flavored drinks, most of the time they are shown, females are shown, and it is a drink for females. So even if you are a male student, if he likes that orange flavored drink, might not order. So this empathy mapping would give you an answer if he is sincere in giving the answer. What he feels and what he does actually. He feels that he should order orange flavored drink, but he does not order. He orders a Coca-Cola, which is okay. Sometimes the Coca-Cola is manly, Thumbs Up is manly, Sprite is manly, and so on. Okay, something which depicts machoism. Empathy started way back. Let me give you the example of Maharaja Bhagwat Singh Ji of Gondal. He, before a century, nearly a century, made this platform for the rural women who used to go to the jungle and the nearby areas to collect firewood and grass for fodder for their animals. So at every interval, such a platform was installed so that these women can rest for a while by putting the fodder or the firewood, because the firewood used to be very heavy, and if you have observed a rural woman, they require the help of somebody to carry it on their head. Okay, so because of this platform, these women did not require the help of anybody. Otherwise, you have to stop somebody, a bypasser, and you have to take the help of the bypasser. That please help me put it on my head. So this was something, a solution, a design thinker so many years ago. He was the Maharaja of a place called Gondal near Rajkot. Okay, I hope we are going ahead with this. Now I take you to the ideate phase, and this is a 10-minute exercise, and where I require you to come out with how, now, and wow solutions. Ideate phase is a judgment-free process where you will go for brainstorming. You will also put the worst possible ideas. Okay, I will begin with my idea, and you all will have to participate in this. Let me come on the screen. Friends, no matter how bad the idea is, and all these things, you'll have to do it in your classroom. If you are seriously planning to involve your students for the design process throughout the semester or the term, the coming term, you can use it. No matter how bad the idea is, can you categorize, collect the idea and put it into these 3 phases? How, wow, and now. Now idea means a normal idea and easy to implement. Wow idea is an original idea, easy to implement. And how idea is impossible to implement, but an original idea. Okay, so let me begin with my idea. I often think that there is a lot of sound pollution, especially during this traffic junction. Can you collect the sound? Can you collect the sound? Is there any equipment which can collect the sound, amplify, intensify the sound, and can we run a turbine with the help of the sound so that we can produce electricity? Is it possible? What is your opinion? Can you collect the sound and convert the sound into electric energy? This is just a vague idea. This is just a vague, see how no matter how bad the idea is, you can invite the student, ask them to write on a chit, and then categorize into how, now, and why, wow idea. So this is my vague idea. I know you might be a creative genius and you might not share an idea, but can you take 10 minutes to solve this exercise? Give me unique idea so that we can categorize into how, now, and wow ideas. Come on, volunteership is required. Some of my students are also here. You can participate.
So, sir, the basic assumption would be that this case only, that you want to traffic sonars and all. So we need to think through this. So we can employ the sonars. So like submarine, we have sonars. We just detect the kind of sound waves of the different other submarines. So we can use the sonar mechanism to track up the sounds of these vehicles, and then we can convert these sound energy into the kind of kinetic energy. We can employ kind of things.
So we can write that. We can write that. Okay. But no, you can have your own unique idea. This was my idea.
Okay.
I don't want you to support this idea or reject this idea, but I want you to give me your original idea. All these participants.
Okay,
See,
sir.
it doesn't look good if I call out your names, like Mr. Rao is there, Mr. Muttu is there, then you have Neeraj, Mr. Neeraj. But I would love if you volunteer and give a few ideas so that we can go ahead with this. Should I? Okay, I'll present one more idea. Instead of adding strawberry flavor into a cow's milk, can you have an injection which you can inject to a cow so that directly she gives a strawberry flavored milk? The cow gives a strawberry flavored milk while milking the cow. Is it possible? So this is a vague idea. Similar ideas which look stupid. Okay, ideas might look stupid, but you can use it and then you can go and refine it. You can write it in the chat box. You might write in the chat box. Or are you going to patent your ideas? When you are mute, एकदम जब आप लोग mute हैं, इसका मतलब ऐसा है that you are going to patent your new ideas. One more idea I would say, okay, just support or reject this idea. When you go to a movie theater to watch a movie, and if there is a garden portrayed in the movie, don't you think in the entire cinema hall there should be a fragrance of flower? Okay, but at the same time, if you watch, you Slumdog Millionaire, and if you find that scene where the protagonist falls into the gutter, okay, then also you have to bat that smell. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sir, I have one basic issue. So I'll just bring up to this group.
Yeah.
So I just give a quick example. So, my daughter is 3 years old as of now, and we are in Delhi. So in Delhi, we have a kind of education kind of policy that the child below 3 years won't be able to get into nursery admissions.
Correct.
But some other states like Punjab or Punjab is preferably that I know, and there could be the Rajasthan as well, where the child under 3 years can get the easily admission
Correct.
in the nursery schools, in the top schools, in the good schools as well. So there is no transparency, even though we all are the states, Rajasthan, Punjab, Delhi. So it's like the similar state that we have in India. But there could be the similar structure we should follow. That so this could be the kind of potential thing because this could be the gap again that academicians or the education policy makers can think to, that how we can make a kind of a level up kind of thing. So they should be the same level across the states. In the Tamil Nadu till the JNK, we need to have a separate kind of similar structure for the education to go up, so the child would not face any gaps and all.
Very good afternoon, Dr. Harishchandra and Saurav.
Good afternoon, sir.
It is a very nice presentation on the design thinking. It's the second day. Really went off well. And the post-lunch session especially is little drowsy, but then you made it interactive and very interesting. As far as the Saurav's the present question is concerned, the making his cute child join the education or something like that. I think there's no. What is the objective? What is the objective of making your child enter into the school? It's just because you want to get rid of her for some time at home.
Yes, sir. I see that here
objective should be very clear. Objective of educating our children should be very clear. Come what may. Let's say, for example, okay, your child, you are joining her now, and after 10+2, she wants to take a break and then prepare for a medical or engineering. She will be taking an year off.
Yeah.
So when you can afford to have a break at that particular time, why can't you afford to have a break in the initial stages and make her more comfortable?
I truly agree to your point, sir. But again, since we are all in the brainstorming things, we are discussing the things. So
no.
My
policy
point is just
not here.
Policy should be same for each individual. So it can't be.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, yes, sir.
I'm coming back to the same question. Policy making is at a different strategy altogether. And design thinking, as far as I understood, or I can narrate, it is something like a social technology. We are trying to understand a current problem in hand and try to address it with a different mindset. not that we are not going to touch the policy framework. We're only going to touch the
I actually
solution
agree with
framework.
I actually agree with Mr. Rao, because we are not going to make sea-face changes in the government or the policy matters, but we need to find a practical solution for what we can
It's
do
a
the best.
social technology. That's why the term social technology is more applicable here, because the design is okay, is engineering term. But
Correct.
then that engineering term is being empathized. The moment we say it has to start with empathy, that means we are trying to talk something about the social impact of that particular problem.
Correct. Correct.
Anyway,
Yes, yes.
now
Thank you. Thank you.
coming to
I
the
think,
exercise that
yeah.
you have given,
Yeah.
now, wow, and how.
Yeah.
Today only I was actually thinking,
Right, sir.
during this pandemic, a lot of homework I have been doing, helping my better half, helping my mother, helping my maid at home,
Right, sir.
involving in cooking and all these kind of things. So I was just thinking, जब
Correct,
हम
sir.
घर को साफ करते हैं,
Hmm.
majority of the time the dust composition comprises of the hair fall,
Correct, sir.
है ना?
Yeah,
तो
yeah.
जब भी हम बात करते हैं, इवन हंसी मजाक में भी, बाल जो है, हाल चाल कैसा है, बाल बच्चे कैसे हैं, तो बाल सर पे कम है, जमीन पे ज्यादा है.
सही है.
So that is a very major part of your dust product. How to actually, और hair से क्या problem है, खाने में भी निकल जाता है, कहीं से भी आ जाता है, उड़ के आ जाता है, and it's a very risky thing. Actually जो कैंसर जो होता है ना हमारे अंदर,
Right.
बाल उसका रूट कॉज है.
अच्छा.
जाने
Okay.
अनजाने में हमारे अंदर चली जाती है, खाते वाते कैसे भी हो, and that is undigestible product.
Correct, sir. Correct.
And वो आके वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं फंस जाता है, and then it gives problem later.
Right, sir.
तो
Right.
उसको कैसे कंट्रोल किया जाए, सफाई हम बालों को अकेले कैसे हम उसको सक किया जाए, या
Correct.
how to that that was the idea which I was trying to frame in my mind. मैं गूगल सर्च वगैरह कम ही करता हूँ, अपने अंदर ही दिमाग ही चलाता रहता हूँ. तो I was just thinking.
Yes, sir. So I hope you could put it in one of the quadrant. Wow, how now? Some solution.
I think it is
Okay.
how only.
Okay. Right, sir.
It-
Right now it is
how
no.
because,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's something which is prickling everyone, but we are unable to come out with a solution. It needs
Right.
to be solved.
Right, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the input, sir. Here's one more input, that you should have a control find button for physically searching the files in the office. Just like you find the, there should be a find file. You should be able to find the files, physical files, in the office when you have multiple files. So this is something which is vague, but we can work on this part. See, this 1.5 hours, they are not enough to actually go and solve the problem and prototype it. But this is what we can do for your students. And because one more day, I would ask my fellow, my colleague who would take for the prototype and the testing phase later on and tomorrow, and then work on some of the ideas that we have just discussed. I could discuss with her. But first, try to understand what are the different phases and how well we can give justice to those phases. So this is one of the way of giving justice to the ideate phase. And there is one more method which is known as the 6 heads techniques given by Edward de Bonos, where every head matters. Will not be discussing each and every head, because again there will require time, plus you'll have to take one exercise. But I would quickly give the idea about one of the heads. For example, red head is related to intuition, gut instinct, and what you feel right now about that product or service, or for some idea. For example, let us talk about the odd and even rule about your vehicles in Delhi, because to control the vehicular pollution, when you have odd even rule, let's say you had an odd number car, your registration number is odd number, and you don't have any other car, and you want to go to a very important family function, and you want to show your car, to your relatives, but because of the odd even rule, you will not be able to show your car. You have purchased the car recently. So what are your feelings? You could write under the red hat. It is believed that every individual, if he analyzes the problem, if you give this exercise to your students for analyzing the problem or putting the problem in various hats, blue hat regarding process, green hat related to creativity, yellow hat related to the benefits, okay, black hats which are the cautions, like sir was talking about the policymakers, white hat which is neutral, and red hat related to the feelings. Or if you divide your class of 60 students into 6, 10, 10 each, giving them a task to talk about a particular situation on which you are trying to apply design thinking, you could come out with some inputs, and you can use these inputs to further solve the problem, ideate it, process it, come with a prototype and test that prototype, testing of that prototype in the real life. Okay, so how can I use design thinking in the classroom? Now I have written 11 rules where you can use various ways in your classroom, whether you are a school teacher or you are in a college or a higher educational institute. How can you use it? They are simple, but you can implement them, because you need to sensitize your student for the forthcoming, because if you develop a design thinking attitude, that could be helpful to you. If your students are too young to distinguish between convergent and divergent thinking, ask them, is this a problem that can only have one right answer, or can it have many? For example, you want to earn money. You want, see, when I was the management student myself, I did it. My majors was in marketing, but my classmates who were in finance, they had a finance club, and they collected money and they invested in share market, the stock market during that time. The amount was not very high. It was around 80,000 rupees, but actually they could see the profit and they used to divide the profit. So if you want to earn money while as a student, you could have many options, right? So do you have many answers or one answer to a particular question? Go for developing that attitude of the classmates, your students, if they are young or if they are older high school students, or they are the college students. Try to differentiate between what is convergent and what is divergent. Do you have many answers, or do you have one answer coming to many? Develop empathy. How do you develop empathy amongst your students? How do you develop empathy? Because empathy is something which is not found everywhere. You have homeopathy, allopathy, but you don't have sympathy, or you don't have empathy. And how do you inculcate empathy? That could be done at a very young age, or when if you're trying to solve the problems of the end users using the empathy stage, you need to observe those people. Make it, if it is a school or if it is an educational institute, ensure that they see how does the janitor or the sweeper of your institute, how does he work? How does she work? What are the problems of the security guard? Meet a security guard. Ask his or her. Okay, ask the security guard the 10 hours journey of his entire work schedule, or a 12 hours journey. What happens during the night shift, and so on. Try to add some aspect of empathy, so that unless empathy is added, design thinking won't come out with full force. So you need to empathize with that. Identify an issue your educational institute requires immediate action. Is it related to fees? Is it related to donation? Is it related to installing a new device? Is it related to installing a vending machine? Is it related to pollution? And so on. And definitely you will be able to solve that problem in a unique manner. And this can be done in a cost-effective manner. Okay, as I mentioned, you can do it without the help of a great mediator who actually knows what is design thinking. Design thinking is an approach. It is not a lifestyle. It's an approach towards how do you think and solve the problem. Okay, this is my pick for, you could See, we go for youth festival, you go for sports festival, you go for different management festivals. Why can't we all go for a design festival, design thinking festival? It was done by National Institute of Design, inviting schools in 2017, sponsored by Parleji. But you don't find many design thinking festivals. What I'm going to do immediately in this term, I'm going to have at least 3 days of design thinking festival, which you can do in your educational institution, where you invite all sort of ideas. See, to give an idea also, you should have your own willingness to propose your idea. Otherwise, those kids, those students who do not even want to give a very, very bad, seemingly bad idea, how do you actually motivate such students to pursue their occupational interest in the future? Okay, I mean to say, you should develop a culture and should popularize this concept of design thinking amongst your students. So go for having a 3-day festival or 2 hours every day, just like this FDP. See, after attending this FDP for 6 hours in these 3 days time period, at least you will know 1% of what is design thinking, which could actually help in framing some strategies for your own school or for your own higher educational institution where you are associated with. Design of the student should not end up in the dustbin, which we generally do. We appreciate a project report of the student, a creative work of a student, but ultimately it ends up in a pasti. Okay, it ends up in the dustbin. This should not happen. Document it, appreciate that student, have a gallery to showcase the talent or the original ideas of the student. Haven't you seen a lot of startups and innovation centers nowadays across? वो बात अलग है कि startups fail हो रहे हैं, लेकिन innovations should be appreciated. They should not end up in a dustbin. This as a teacher, as a professor, you should ensure. Find out 10 different versions of the same question. Okay, for example, if you want to kill, okay, if you have a menace of rats keeps on entering your house, can you have different approaches of getting rid of a rat? Can you kill a rat so that the rat does not die in the house but goes out and die? Can you kill the rat? Can you not kill the rat but capture the rat in a cage? Is there a medicine which does not kill the rat but makes it unconscious, and then the rat goes out of the house? You can throw the rat out of the house, and then you can get rid of the rat for a while, and so on. Ask 10 different questions. You can have this exercise in the class. देखिए, डिजाइन थिंकिंग की इतनी सारी एक्सरसाइजेस है कि आप पागल हो जाएंगे. Though we have missed the bus, okay, we generally don't discuss much about design thinking because still most of us are not clear about what actually design thinking is. Okay, but if you enter start with an emphasis, this empathize phase, and if you try to implement slowly and steadily and put it in your, you call it conditioning. If you condition it in your culture and you make it internalize in the school culture or your higher educational institute culture, definitely the resultant effects would come. देखिए, new education policy, the draft took 10 years, but when we implement, it's again going to take 5 more years when to implement across India. But don't you think if once it is implemented, you will be able to see the result? That doesn't mean that you don't have to implement immediately, right? It may take time, but it is the need of the hour. Similarly, design thinking is the need of the hour, whether you implement today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. But that could be done. Quickly, I will take the next one. Ask your students to read a lot of books and a lot of books. Because, this is what I have heard from most of the educational institutions, that they are not reading. We want a quick, now they want to go for audiobooks. Go for a lot of books, not movies, but a lot of books. Keep writing ideas in a journal. Write your ideas in a journal. Some people get ideas during midnight. Are you a midnight genius? If you find midnight geniuses in you, Wake up at the midnight, write the song that comes to your mind, write about the idea which was unusual that comes to your mind, write in the diary, try to focus on that problem or that idea, whether it can you convert that into a prototype and test it. This culture you'll have to create in your school. Make your students jack of all but master of one. Okay, they can be good at everything, but make them master of at least one skill. Okay, so that they can actually be the masters and creative thinkers in that particular field. Listen to TED Talks, technology, entrepreneurship and design. TED Talks originated from Canada and now TED Talks are arranged across the world. TED Talks, the best part is 18 से 20 minute में fantastic best speakers of the world present their ideas. Make it a habit for your students to watch at least one TED Talk per day. That would surely make them a lot of, that will inculcate a lot of creativity in them. And finally, I'm approaching towards the end of the session when you need to bend the time. Now, what is this bending the time? 365 days, make a journal, or you can make a soft copy of unusual things that you can do every day. For example, you have a small girl child, daughter, who wants to put a rubber band in your hair, or she wants to paint your nail. You are the father, and she wants to paint your nails with the nail polish. It looks stupid. Allow your daughter. She will enjoy it. Take the picture, put it in a journal. After 365 days of bending the time, you will actually find life to be wonderful, beautiful, and you will find some design thinking approach to your life also. When the why is clear, how becomes easy. Design thinking, I love design thinking individually, personally, because you don't fail in design thinking. It's an iteration process because there is no failure, and with the trial and error, you come out with the final solution. So even if the prototype fails miserably, do not worry. That's the reason design thinking also talks to you about not failing, never say die attitude. I bent the time by looking at the manner this gentleman is looking. This is my pic where I thought of doing something unusual at some railway station of London somewhere in 2018. I hope you also do the same thing by bending the time, giving a different approach to your life, and seeing the life in a definitely different manner, but having empathy or sympathy in the center of as the center point. I hope with that positive note, you all could take some initiative of arranging design thinking workshop at your school. Ask your student to be a little more creative. Look at the problem by various methods. I will also share the methods if you are interested with the help of those PDF files that I'm having. But in short, it's need of the hour. You should start now. Okay. So with that note, thank you so much. Thank you for patiently listening to me. So again, I end with this note. When the why is clear, how becomes easy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rathor sir, for delivering a wonderful session. And thank you to all the participants for joining for this session. And we hope that you all learned something new and you all enjoyed the session. Thank you so much. And right now,
Mr. Shanmuruga,
yes,
he
sir.
wants to say something. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He raised his
Sir,
hand.
I am professor from Pondicherry University.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste.
So I want to congratulate you. You have made a very good presentation, sir. Excellent presentation.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
informative. And really, I enjoyed a lot today's session. And I need one favor from you. We need some kind of book or material details that which books that we have to follow, where we have to find this kind of creative, innovative exercises. And that sources we want, sir. If possible, you please kindly share through our WhatsApp group created by this.
Definitely, sir. At present, I am having a few resources.
Okay.
I will definitely share as soon as this presentation gets over, this class gets over, and I also have a list of books which are available, which will imbibe the creativity and especially the design thinking aspects. Definitely, sir. Thank you for the feedback. Thank
Good.
you.
Very good, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice.
I ended up before 5 o'clock because I wanted to discuss with a few participants, and there might be some questions. So I invite some questions from your side, if I can help you. I am not an expert of design thinking. I am also just a learner, because design thinking is an iterative process. It never ends. Okay, even Mr. David Kelly won't say that he's a design thinker. He is the pioneer of design thinking, but he will never say he's a design thinker. It's a never-ending process. So we can all learn together. If you can ask a few questions, if you have some queries, you may ask. Otherwise, we can proceed ahead for the feedback session or the feedback form, come attendance form for the day.
Sir, why not why not your institution take some initiative to arrange or organize some kind of contest? For example, the computer science people, they are having the hackathon program for
Yes, sir.
bringing some innovative softwares and other things.
Correct, sir.
Like that, the management people, that why not you initiate this? We extend all support for organizing such type of creative that contest, that some kind of event, contest event, the competition event.
Sir, that's a very good suggestion. Let me think about that. Actually, I had that in my mind, but I was not thinking at a national level. I will definitely think about this point, and we can go for it.
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for the feedback from all of you. There are some feedbacks in the chat room, the chat box. Thank you for encouraging our team. It was for not-for-profit FDP. We just wanted to have insight from the participants. So we did not make it, we did not associate any monetary benefits with this FDP. We wanted more people join and learn about design thinking. That was the thing.
Undoubtedly, the presentation was, I would say, scintillating. And yeah, of course, it might have definitely triggered a lot of brains to think about it. I have a different perspective. Of course, I strongly differ in many of the ideas that you have trying to propagate, or whatever it is.
Yes,
I'm sorry, maybe it might be hurting to other participants. But then, from my perspective, I think it's nothing but there's a saying, necessity is the mother of invention.
Correct.
Okay. And whenever we come across a problem, whether it is small or whatever the degree of its intensity, we try to come out sooner or later some solution, by hook or crook. And we are trying to simply camouflage that particular aspect into a cocooned compartment and labeling it as a design thinking. That's what I'm actually of the opinion.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt. There is one TED talk which says that design thinking is bullshit. Design thinking is bullshit. No. Let me talk. That lady, the presenter, says that why design thinking cannot be applied to several areas. You are 100% correct, sir. I agree with that point also.
No, yes. It is applied. It is not that it is new thing. What I wanted to say is, it is not a new thing. It has been there since the times immemorial.
Correct,
it is only the terminology is being newly invented.
Yes,
we are trying to copy certain terms by, as you rightly said, Kelly might have coined this particular term, and then we're trying to copy it. Otherwise, we are using it in day in and day out.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Camouflage with something. Yeah. Correct,
we're also encouraging our students to think creative, think out of the box, think inside the box, think little different, think from other perspective, come out with a different solution. All these terminologies what we're trying to say, we're trying to say the same thing, that think differently. So thinking differently is nothing but thinking in a designed manner. Design means basically we're trying to structure it or destructure it, or
with a definite path. Yes, structured with following a definite path. Just like designers do. Correct. Correct, sir. Thank you for putting it all in the right manner. Thank you, sir. I'm really grateful that this participants, because unless you get feedback, you don't know whether you're going on the right track or not. So thank you so much, both of you, sir.
Actually, I have a lecture on the same design thinking on 11th.
Correct, sir.
Okay, so I thought, okay, let me take some inputs from you, and I got a lot of inputs from you.
Kindly send an invite so that I can also attend it.
Certainly. It will be a different thing altogether, but yeah,
Yes.
it will fall in the same, line of thinking rather, because
Yes,
ultimately we have to address the young, young students.
Yes, sir.
So obviously we have to tame them up accordingly. Yeah.
Correct, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It was great talking to you.
Same here. Same here.
So now the feedback form is on. You may fill the feedback form, and Harsh,
Yes, sir.
when are you allowing the participant to leave the meeting room?
Sir, I would like to request all the participants, few of the participants, to turn on their video camera so that we can take a few snapshots for the memories. We can memories.
That would be a great memory. So please,
Yes.
yeah, I will be thankful that we can have photographs together. Hello, sir. Rao, sir.
Yes, sir. Shanmuga, sir.
It's nice to have people from across India. Yeah. जैसे आप ताजमहल आगरा सुनते हैं तो आपको ताजमहल याद आता है, तो गुजरात सुन के आपको क्या याद आता है? I just want to ask you, when we talk about Gujarat, whom do you remember? Narendra Modi?
So number one, Narendra Modi. Second, Amul.
Amul, yeah. Okay.
Gujarat means meetha.
Gujarat means meetha. Correct.
Yeah, I had a time, maybe it's a long back, 1991, I believe. I traveled to Ahmedabad, and I had some project.
Navratri, Garba, Akshardham, Siddhi Set, Jali.
Thank you, sir. Anand, sir. Thank you, Anand, sir, for that. Yeah.
That is the place where I took meethi dahi. Generally, meठी dahi नहीं मिलती, only अहमदाबाद में ही मिलता है.
सही बात है, सही बात है. सर, हर एक सब्जी आपको मीठी मिलेगी.
हाँ, वही हर एक सब्जी मीठी मिलती है.
सही है. Hello, Siddhi ma'am, how are you? Yes. Saurabh,
Fine.
sir. Yeah.
It's always great to listen you.
Thank you.
Great, sir, and great initiative, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Namaste to all of you. And do join for the concluding session tomorrow also. Professor Priyanka Batra will take, and she will also discuss some new methods. Thank you so much.
Sure, sir. I look forward to.
Yeah.
All the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was a great session.
Thank you, Hemant, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Can we leave now?
Yes, sir. They all can leave, and please fill the feedback form.
Yeah, don't forget to fill this feedback form. Thank you.
Yes.